Voting is in full swing in Russia's 2016 parliamentary elections. Let's cross to our special election studio in the heart of Moscow and RT's Daniel Hawkins.
Thanks, Rory. Thanks for coming, passing on to us here, as you say, in the heart of Moscow, just a few hundred yards away from the Kremlin itself that way. And just behind me, as you can see, the State Duma itself, 450 seats there up for grabs to be secured in the next 24 hours. Voting underway across the country from the east to the west. Hundreds of international observers are keeping a very close eye on procedures. They say so far they haven't found any major violations. And as well as the ordinary people going out to vote, the country's political top brass is also out casting their votes in front of the camera. As you can see there, the Russian president, he was actually questioned there by one cheeky journalist whether he'd voted for the none of the above option. Of course, legally we cannot give you his answer until all polling stations close. That will be top secret, though we can reveal how he plans to spend the rest of this very important day. It's not a question that would concern 99.9% of people. What would you do if the elections found you in zero gravity in space? Well, for this Russian cosmonaut currently floating in the ISS, that was a real dilemma. He actually had to transmit his choice to a specially nominated person via a closed communications link. Then that vote was put into a special box, as you can see there, and packed away. So truly no man left behind here in this electoral cycle. Well, we've got a report now from RT's Neil Harvey, who's been across the elections so far. He breaks down for us how exactly the Russian elections are working this time round.
So this is it, the State Duma, located just a few short steps away from the Kremlin. This is where deputy seats are at stake during a legislative election. And we've been given the rare opportunity to take a look around. So if elected to become a Russian lawmaker, this is where you would be working for a 5-year period. At this particular moment, we're inside the Grand Hall of Russia's State Duma, and this is the room in which the country's laws are debated.
In total, 450 deputies work here. Half of them will be chosen in so-called electoral districts. The whole country is divided into 225 parts. Only one person can win in each, based on a simple majority vote. Now let me break down for you how the other half's elected. Parties compile lists of candidates, and seats are allocated to those candidates in proportion to the number of votes their party receives, which, note, must be above a 5% electoral threshold. So, the higher someone is on their party's list, the better their chances of winning a deputy seat. But who decides who should be at the top and who at the bottom? Well, this year, the ruling party, United Russia, again used a system similar to that seen in the US by staging its very own primaries. But unlike in the US, where only party members vote, in Russia, anyone can. As for where the seats are physically,
Deputies of the United Russia Party, they occupy the central part of the hall. The left section belongs to the Communist Party, and on the right, deputies from the Social Democratic Fair Russia Party. Now, the centre-left section is occupied, if this isn't too confusing for you, by the right-wing Liberal Democratic Party, the LDPR. So those are the basics that you need to know about the Russian State Duma and about how its elections work. And we will learn who will win these seats very soon. Neil Harvey, RT, Russia's State Duma.
Well, the voting isn't going without a hitch everywhere, though. There's been a few dozen violations reported. Also in Moscow, an unknown man actually phoned police from a polling station saying he's got a bomb and he was going to detonate it. The police arrived pretty quickly. The man was arrested, but no explosive, thankfully, were found. Also, a less dramatic video is making the rounds online, apparently showing a woman at one polling station in the southern Russian city of Rostov-on-Don. You can see her in the bottom right corner there, trying to stuff what appears to be entire piles of votes into the ballot box. And that incident, of course, reported already to the Central Election Committee. And speaking of that committee, these are, I believe, live pictures from their HQ in Moscow. They're very well organized, high-tech. If any misconduct is proven, the new chief, Ella Panfilova, has promised a tough crackdown, including criminal proceedings and possibly even the cancellation of results from the station in question, should those allegations prove to be true. And Russia's not the only place with some difficulties. There's been some ugly scenes erupting at the Russian embassy in Kiev, Ukraine, where a polling station for Russian citizens has been set up. Let's take a look now.
Він громадянин Російської Федерації. Триває сутичка між поліцейськими.
As you can see, there are some people being severely beaten by members of Ukraine's nationalist Svoboda party outside the embassy building. A Russian flag was also put on the floor by one nationalist leader, and people told to stamp on it as they walked in. Other members held up offensive banners protesting the elections. The police presence, you can see there, seemingly wasn't enough to prevent these violent incidents. In fact, just on Saturday, hooligans actually attacked the embassy with fireworks. Ukrainian nationalists claim Russia's parliament elections are invalid since they include Crimea. Well, throughout the entire day, I'll be here at our special election studio in the heart of Moscow, yards from the Duma itself, bringing you all the highlights and updates from the 2016 elections. For now, though, it's back to RTHQ, and over to you, Rory.